Number one, the concept has to be solid. It has to have great unit level economics. Again, if it's not making money, don't waste your time doing this. So, look all right. That's what I was going for, the romance vibe.
Yeah. Very into.
Hi, my name is Dan Collins, and this is the Franchise Masters. Well, I was born here in Philadelphia. Grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I went to Florida International University, School of Hospitality, worked my way through school in franchising. My first job ever, washing dishes in a franchised restaurant. I, of course, didn't know what a franchise was at the time. And then worked as a restaurant manager to pay for college. Came out of school, started working at a couple different companies in operations, and became a trainer. Opened probably 150 restaurants around the country. And then the last ones that I opened 6 in Seoul, South Korea. So that was a lot of fun. Came back, got promoted, and ran operations for the Southeast United States for a couple different restaurant companies. Had a great time. I'm sure at one time I said nobody can run a restaurant like me. And then injured my knee, unfortunately, and had to realize I can't spend 15 hours a day on my feet anymore. Got into franchise development. It really helped me, all that operational experience, because I had people coming in that had 150 restaurants. Well, I just ran 150 restaurants. So, I could talk to them eye to eye and understand everything they were going through. And it really helped my development process. And right at the beginning, I became the top sales performer. Probably because I never look at it as sales. I just try and see if it's a good fit. And worked my way up through development. I became president of a restaurant company. And to me, the concept needs to make sense. It's great to have a lot of sizzle, but if it's not making money for franchisees, it's not worth selling. One of the most important things in franchising is doing what you told the person you were going to do. The concept could be very sexy. It could be something that, it draws people's attention immediately. But again, if it doesn't make money for somebody, what are we doing? If you can make just as much money having it in a money market account and not having to do anything, I would do that. And I'm good at this. So I would urge people, do your homework, talk to franchisees, because I've specifically left companies where I was very successful because they didn't follow through on the promises they made at Discovery Day. Discovery Day is a two-way street. We're not just figuring out if these people are a good fit. They're coming in to see what we do to support them as franchisees. And then we have a responsibility to do that. Number one, I never sell a franchise. I make sure it's a good fit, and if it is, then we partner together. After that, I never celebrate when we sign a deal. Companies I worked for used to ring a bell and everyone stood up and applauded, or everyone gets excited and high fives right after the prospects leave because they said they were going to sign up. I get excited the day the doors open. To me, it's a responsibility when I sign that contract. I need to make sure now we're putting this family in business. We don't sell whatever the concept is. We sell successful business models and support for that. And I feel like these people invested, a lot of times people are investing their life savings with whatever they're doing. I need to make sure they get a return on that investment. Franchisees deserve to have, number one, a reasonable investment for them. Number two, they need to get a return on that investment. And then, again, it has to be better than if it was just sitting in the bank, because it's a lot easier when your money's just sitting in the bank. Well, I'll tell you, I spent the last 13 years consulting for emerging brands. I love emerging brands. It's exciting for me. I get to kind of have my hand in all the different areas of the business. One of my big claims to fame is I was the first person that John Y. Brown hired for Kenny Rogers Roasters. So I worked there for about 9 years, and I got to work in every department in that company. So I got great exposure, and I've been able to do that throughout my career and help franchisees that wanted to franchise but either weren't doing it properly or just getting started, or they were franchising and their franchisees were all upset. Well, I'll tell you why they're upset. It's too hard. It's not making enough money. That's it. I traveled the country for, I would go for 3 or 4 days and every couple weeks and help franchisors that wanted to franchise. They just wanted me to sell whatever they were selling. And that's how the initial contact came up. And what I would do is ask them, all right, well, does it make money? And half of the franchisors would tell me, Oh, absolutely, it makes 26% after they pay their royalty. And I said, well, that would be fantastic, show me. And it never happened. Then the other half told me, I don't know if it makes money, but it's cool and we should sell it. I said, well, if you don't know if it makes money, why would I sell this to anyone? So that's how the consulting got started, where I said, listen, let me come in, fix your operations, make it as simple as it could be, as profitable as it could be. And it would come down to sometimes I would have to change the equipment they had. I would always change whatever process they had, because if it's not as simple as it could be, franchisees will find out how to make it simple. They want it to be easy. Franchisees want three things, especially when they're buying a franchise. Number one, they want relatively low initial investment. Number two, they want to make a lot of money. And number three, they want it to be simple. And it's a sliding scale on all of those. They'll pay a little bit more money to have a couple more headaches if they're gonna make a lot more money. So the goal is make it as simple as possible, keep it as the initial investment as low as possible, and keep the operations so they make sense. You get the desired outcome the simplest way possible, because if you don't find that out for them, they'll find it out for you. I enjoy making franchisees profitable. It's one of my favorite things is having happy, high volume, successful franchisees. I never have to cringe when I see a franchisee's number pop up on my cell phone, and hopefully they never cringe when they see mine pop up. Number one, I get that initial lead. I respond immediately. It's an auto response. It could be a little impersonal, but I want those people to know, here's my contact information. I hear you, I see you, we're gonna be talking soon. Then, if they don't hit me back right away, if it happens during business hours or relatively reasonable hours, I call them within a minute. I call them as soon as it pops up in my email. I keep seeing these, at these conferences, these statistics where, it's 7 times more likely if you get to them in the first 4 hours. I'm gonna get to them in the first 4 minutes. The other thing that blows my mind is 34% of people never get a call back from putting their lead in. How do we keep the lights on in this place? That's how I pay my bills. Of course I'm gonna call these people. I feel like it's disrespectful. They were nice enough and they thought highly enough of my brand that they're gonna reach out to me and they wanna be an owner. Many times we know these people aren't qualified to do it. The thing is, my goal, I still talk to every single person because to me, I was honored that they reached out to us. They liked our brand enough to do that. So if they're not qualified, I'm gonna let them down in the nicest way possible because my goal is, number one, show respect. Number two, they liked me enough to call and ask if they could be an owner. I wanna make sure at the very least they're still a raving fan of the brand when they leave this call because I want them to go in and talk to our franchisees and pay them for the service. I mean, it's fantastic. And I wanna keep that person out there as an evangelist for my brand everywhere. So if it's somebody that could be qualified, it usually goes on to 45 minutes to an hour intro call. So I take them through my entire sales process. I take them through intro of the brand. Then we go on to the development process because again, I'm very interested in getting these things up and open. I don't care. I won't ever sell one more than I think is going to open. To me, I don't tie up territory like that. If I've had people come in and ask me, I want to buy the entire state of California. That's a rather robust deal. I would love to do that. However, all right, show me a business plan that supports that. Okay, well, you're gonna have to have 20 construction crews working around the clock to execute that on a timeline that I would find acceptable. So if we could do that, show me the funds that you have the ability to pull that off, I'm happy to sign that deal. But that never happens, and it probably will never happen. So we go on that 45-minute phone call. After that, at the end of my call, I will disclose them with my franchise disclosure document. I will send them my request for consideration. I specifically don't call it an application because I don't take anyone that applies. You request to be a franchisee here. I make sure that it's going to be a good fit. So at the end of that, I ask them to do some homework on that FDD. It's 333 pages. It's going to be some reading. That's definitely going to stimulate some more questions, and I expect them to put together that list of questions for our next call. I also expect them to do their homework and start reaching out to franchisees and do their due diligence. I will never have someone show up for a discovery day that hasn't been stretched, that hasn't reached out and talked to at least a couple franchisees. I have people that want to come in and be the first one in their state. Well, they're going to have to travel across state lines to go get stretched before they come and visit me. Usually my process is very quick as well. So I'll have that call. A week later, I schedule my FDD follow-up call. So we go through that process. I answer every question I'm legally allowed to. Anything, and I tell them on the first call, I'm not allowed to answer questions of anything that's not inside of the FDD. That's the questions that our franchisees can answer for you because it's their business. They can tell you anything that they wish to about their business. So on that second call, I've already set their expectations that I'm not going to tell you how much profit you can make because it's not in there and it's going to be all across the board. So I go through, I clarify anything I can, and I always tell them, listen, if you want to use an attorney, I highly recommend that, but make sure it's a franchise attorney. They're going to understand I'm not going to change a word in this document other than I'm going to put your name, how many studios, what's the development timeline, and everyone's got the same development timeline. That speeds my development process up tremendously because they know, don't waste your time trying to get somebody to redline my FDD. It's not happening. My documents are my documents. We don't change a "the" to a "the." It's not happening. So that takes all that kind of potential negotiation on their side out of it and all the wiggle room. Makes it a very simple process. We go through, we answer all those questions. Typically at the end of that second call, we both know if we want to move forward together. And I always say it that way to let them know that I'm not just trying to get them to buy something. I'm evaluating the process and I'm evaluating you following the process to see if I think it's going to be a good fit. If I think they're going to be a good candidate, then we invite them to Discovery Day, and I try to do that within the next week. So this is also gauging their interest level and how serious they are. Because again, my department is very small. I don't have a lot of time to play around with looky-loos. I'll put them on some kind of auto drip email campaign and stay in touch with them. But for those live phone calls, I only have so many hours in the day. So then we schedule Discovery Day. Discovery Day for me is not, hey, this might be cool. Let's see if this would be maybe a good fit. Discovery Day, you're validating everything I told you on the call. I've already shown you a video of a tour of our facility. I've already told you everything we have for supporting you and training. You know, this is really, after we hang out and get to know each other a little better around the conference table, this is when people tell us, yeah, I'm ready to go, get the paperwork rolling. And that's exactly what I do. 100% of the people I want at Discovery Day sign up. And within 2 days, I have paperwork out to them. They sign a 7-day receipt. 7 days later, they sign their DocuSign, wire transfer their development fees. 3 days, 3 things happen immediately upon becoming a franchisee with me. Number one, you get invited to the next franchisee training session that happens. I want you to know exactly what's going on as quickly as possible. You need that kind of frame of reference and context because this is going to hit the ground and start running immediately. Number two, you get assigned a store opening specialist. This person's entire job, starting on day one of you being a franchisee, is get you open as quickly as possible. Walk you through an 86-item checklist from, hey, read the operations manual we just sent you, to open the doors for business. And then the third thing is, I want you to submit sites day one. I tell them to go out, I give them the site criteria, and I tell them to go out and look for these types of strip centers while your paperwork is clicking for those 7 days. You know you're going to be a franchisee, I want you to hit the ground running. Come to me with sites. If you don't have a real estate person, that's fine too, because I didn't expect our franchisees to be real estate experts, marketing experts. We have all kinds of companies to support that. I'll set you up day one with a real estate company. And they work with probably 25 of our franchisees at any time. They've done a fantastic job for me. But I want them to get that site. The longest part of is the negotiation of the lease. Because after I give a description of what I'm looking for, they know exactly what strip center. They live in that area. They know 3 different strip centers that meet those criteria. I want them to submit those to us immediately and start the process going. Typically within 90 days, maybe 120 days, they're open for business. And we like it that way.